fifth episode of our webinar series. The first webinar in 2021 is dedicated to teaching and assessing grammar and vocabulary interactively with our speaker, Mr. Walid Shafi. But before we get started, let me remind you of the steering committee of these online events. Mrs. Camilla Zurgari, ELT Inspector in Monastir, Mrs. Lama Atwi, I don't know whether she is with us or not, ELT Inspector in Tunis, Mr. Kamel Sheikh, ELT Inspector in Mednin, and myself, Habib Shani, ELT Inspector in Lekef. I don't know whether Mr. Kamel Sheikh and Mrs. Atwi have joined us or not.
Yes, good
evening.
I
would also like...
Hello, Mr. Kamel.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Kamel.
Hello,
welcome.
Walid Shafi.
Hi, Si Kamal, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
I would also like to remind you of our housekeeping rules, especially for the attendees. So
I'm sorry for interrupting, Mr. Habib. Would you please just show the right slide for that?
Yeah, it's not there.
Right.
So let me, just a moment and let me share it again. Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me remind the attendees of our housekeeping rules. So you are kindly requested and asked to mute your microphones and use the chat box for questions. You will have around 10 to 15 minutes by the end of this webinar in which you ask questions directly to our speaker. You will have a link to a quiz. When you fill this quiz, when you answer this quiz, you will get a certificate of attendance. Let me also remind you that you can get a certificate if you answer the quiz. Voila, it's time to get started. So without any further ado, let me start by introducing our speaker, Mr. Walid Shafi. Mrs. Zurgari, can you introduce him?
Okay, would you just click on the right slide first? Okay, thank you to see Mr. Walid.
I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Hello, Mr. Walid. Okay, so Mr. Walid is a teacher. Hello. He's a teacher of English who has been teaching for around 14 years. He is currently teaching English to young learners in NTS Prep School in Mednin. He holds an MA in Business English, and he is an ICT trainer, a Fulbright alumni, a blogger, a columnist, a translator, an interpreter, and a web designer. Wow. He writes about the use of technology in education, and he believes that there is a need to transform education globally by introducing technology and teaching skills that are needed in life and work. Right. Mr. Shafi believes that the world economy no longer pays for what people know, but for what they can do with what they know. Great, absolutely. I do agree with you, Mr. Walid. The floor is yours, Mr. Walid. Yes, you can start.
Okay, so hello, everybody. I'm going to share my slide first moment. I hope that everybody is seeing what we have.
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So welcome everybody, participants and the steering committee, Si Habib, Si Kamal, whom I know in person. We have met before that. The session will be about teaching and assessing grammar and vocabulary interactively. So we are going to start by seeing the plan. What we are going to talk about is a little bit of introduction, and then why teaching and assessing interactively. Third, how to teach and assess interactively. And then in the fourth phase, we are going to see some tutorials about creating some activities. Well, we selected this topic because of the current situation. We are in COVID-19 situation. Teaching is not as normal. And then we have this innovation aspect of changing our methods of teaching and pedagogy of the time being and the use of technology. And then we want to have the learners more involved in our teaching, and the focus will be on skills more than the knowledge that they heard. So this is, we try in this session to have maybe something different from what we know in normal circumstances. Well, first, why? Why interactive teaching? Because this way it promotes an atmosphere of intention and participation and make our teaching more engaging. Of the part of the teacher and the students as well, as it is more engaging, and I assume it's more enjoyable and fun, either in the content side or the way of doing things. It saves cost and time, because
please mute your microphones, please. Your microphones, please.
Yes, please. Rimas's mom, please.
Yeah.
Please carry on, Mr. Walid. Yes.
And it saves cost and time, because as we are going to see later, there are activities and things that you can do which has nothing to do with printing papers or doing things, and it's flexible learning, and then in a way that it's not that monotonous and way of learning things, like just do your job and then leave. And then the teacher can make use of interactive learning tools, which we are going to see at least 2 or 3 of them later. So it's more about innovation and the use of technology. The benefits of this approach is, for example, students will be assessed, of how really they mastered the material or the thing that you teach. Also, it measures the students' understanding, which in itself sometimes can be an assessment of the material that you are using as well. And also, the nature of the assessment drives interactively and brings several benefits, which are already mentioned. And the students, mainly this is the most important aspect in our topic today, that students are revived from their passivity of merely listening to a lecture as the old or the traditional mode of teaching is, and they become more attentive and engaged, which are 2 prerequisites for effective learning. As when you involve the students in your teaching, and they be involved in the learning process as well, they will be more up to learn, and they have the desire to learn, which is sometimes what we call motivation. As when you involve them, you can get their attention, and they can give more in order to fulfill their goals, or to understand, or to do their homework, or to do better in their exams, or in general to learn in order to be something in the future. Because we do not just teach for them to get the knowledge of, for example, the past participle or something. We teach them to be someone in the future. We are, as for example, teacher of English, just part of their whole process, and we are just a step for their whole lifelong learning, which we hope. So this is the why, and I hope that you get some hints, which I didn't want to talk a lot about it, but what we focus on is the how. For example, as the title is, we are going to focus on the 2 main points, which are grammar and vocabulary. So we are going to start by doing the grammar part. So how we can teach grammar interactively. So taking an interactive approach in teaching or assessing English grammar doesn't mean just throwing out your syllabus and leave the classroom, which means not just giving your lesson and then you leave. No, it's more about including many aspects and including your students, and trying to do things in a different way. It's true that it's your job, but in other way, it's how you do that job. You can do it better. You can do it just, I mean, how it should be done, or you can add more. So this is the thing. So in student-centered teaching means reframing the use of these teaching methods, the method that we all methodology, scales, or whatever, and integrating them as a part of a broader interactive and engaging lesson plan. So when you plan your lessons, or when you plan for a certain grammatical point, try to bear in mind that in order to make it interactive, you have to think interactively. I mean, not starting from your point of view, but think of the students and how you can include them in your process or in your lesson plan, how you can integrate them, how you can make them doing your job. In other words, I mean, it's not all you do, but how you can do it with them. So you engage your students as well. For example, if you are going to teach, let's take the 7th form students in the basic education. If you are going to teach them the present progressive or the present continuous, in other words, if you are just going to tell them this is the present continuous, it's the verb to be in the present tense plus the verb ing, and then you go to do things. It's true they may understand, not all of them, of course, but let's suppose that the majority of them will understand. But if you start involving them in getting to the point or to the structure, for example, writing the sentence and trying to tell them to underline the verbs in those sentences, if there are many. If it's just one sentence, then ask them to underline the verb in that sentence, and then take that verb and tell them to, if they can guess the structure of that verb, and which normally they may conclude that it's the verb to be. For example, we are watching TV. Then the verb are is the verb to be conjugated with the plural, for example, they, we, and are, and then there is the verb plus ing. So they can guess the structure themselves. So in other words, this is what you call, and we are going to talk about it later, inductive learning, which is, or teaching, which is more than acceptable. So in an interactive grammar lesson for English learner can be structured into 3 parts, which we are going to see in the next slide. If there are more than one grammar point, then you can replicate the thing. So here are, which is present, mean you are going to present the grammar point. So what we try to do the inductive grammar. So an inductive approach involves the learner detecting or noticing the patterns and working out a rule for themselves before they practice.
Excuse me,
Yep.
excuse me, Mr. Walid, for interrupting you. Can you move on to the next slide, because we are still having the same slide, which is how to teach grammar.
So I am in the present now. Present.
Yeah, can you exit full screen and then share it again, maybe? Because
it's okay for me.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay for us. Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, we can see
great.
it.
So the problem is here. Great. Yeah. Okay, it's working. Okay,
back
sorry,
to the slide, Walid. It's okay now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So the 3 steps are present, practice, and apply. In the first step, so as I said, it's inductive grammar, where you allow or let or encourage your students to work out the rule of that grammar point, for example, as I explained in the present progressive, for example. and then you have to practice. So this practice can be done either through the exercises that are provided in your classroom, or if you want it more, and even in the classroom, you can make it more interactive by applying some techniques, which, for example, what we call ask the winner. What ask the winner means, for example, if you do some activities, grammar activities, and then you ask who get this, and when you correct, you ask students who get it right. So they raise their hand, and when they raise their hand, they should keep their hand raised. And the other students who get it false, they may ask their classmates how they did get the answer right. For example, if it's about the past, simple past, let's say regular verbs, for example. So the regular verbs is verb plus id. For example, if some students get it wrong, for example, then their classmates may say, well, it's the verb, for example, visit, and it's regular verbs, so we add just ed. So it's I visited, for example, my grandparents. So try to make them interact between themselves, and they get the answer. Another technique is, for example, what we call pass the problem. What is it? It's for example, you have an activity, and this can be done, of course, for grammar or vocabulary as well. If you have, for example, let's say a question to answer, and then try to pick someone, not a high achiever, but low achiever or medium, or so ask him to, for example, to answer. In case he didn't get the answer, ask him to select another classmates to answer. So it's like you are the students will get another classmate to answer. If that second classmate answered right, then do another activity, and so on. So if the second didn't answer correctly, then he himself or herself will select a third classmate to answer the question or the activity that you provided. So this is what we call pass the problem. So if you couldn't solve it, pass it to your classmate to solve it. If he or she didn't, then pass it on and on until you get the answer. But don't select high achievers first, because most of the time they will get it right, then you will not be able to do it. So, and then you have to apply. Third is apply, which is more activities to be done, for example, online. So this is here come online tools, which we are going to talk about them later, and how you can do it in an interactive way as well. For example, keeping the grammar point in mind, for the 7th form basic education, for example, there is, after the lesson is finished, the students learned about the present simple and present continuous, which are in two different sections. They are in module 2, in section 2, and then in section 3. Well, there are two options here. Either in next session you make students watch the videos, because I prepared videos about those tenses, and then do the activity which I prepared, or assign it as a homework. So, of course, if you watch the videos, I mean inside your classroom, but due to the current situation, and sometimes, for example, I have classes or group of classes which I teach only one time per week. So if we are going to have more time allocated in that, that will not be good for the advancement of the teaching itself. So do it as a homework. So that's why I opt for the second one. So I prepared the present continuous and the simple present simple 2 videos, and then I did the activity, which we are going to see later. Now we are just talking about them, and later I will show you the full video. It's not the full video, but a glimpse how, and then the Google Form activity as well. So there is an important thing, and here I want to ask Mr. Habib, because we had a discussion about it, and it was his idea, really, to be honest, which is the use of QR code. So, for example, this is a link or a YouTube link, as you can see, HTTPS, etc., etc. If you use the QR code, it becomes like the picture that you are seeing. I hope that you are seeing. And this, if you have an application in your phone to read the QR code, it will take you to the link. For example, if some of you now are using your computer and you have your phone and you have the QR code application reader, and then you can just put that application, open the application and do that thing, put the rectangle on that, it will take you to the video of YouTube. This is a good idea too, to include it in your worksheets. So if you have, for example, a worksheet about vocabulary or about anything, and there is a video in it, instead of writing the whole link, you can just create a QR code, and it's an image. You can download it as an image, then include it in your worksheet, and the students will just simply scan that code with their phone, and they will be directed to the video in YouTube. They can watch and then answer. So it's that's why, if you remember, it's time saving and even money saving. So using the technology is very important nowadays. So, for example, these are the QR codes for the 3 videos or activity that I did. Sorry for the CD, or there is typing mistake. It's a video about present continuous. I overlooked that. So these are the 3 things: 2 videos and 1 Google Form. So if you have, as I told you, the QR code reader or scanner, then you can just scan it and you will get directed to the link. And here is I don't know, it depends, but maybe Sir Habib later when we finish, they can provide you with more, but more the most important or the most used one. But I use the first one, QR and barcode scanner. So open your Google Play if you use Android, or the App Store if you use iOS, and then type QR scanner or QR reader, and then you get many options or many search results. You can check one. The most important thing is that you see the stars. If it's the more rate it is, the better the application is. For example, if you have 4.9, means it's 4.9 out of 5. So it's a good application. So also I use my website. I don't know, maybe many of you know it. It's English EFL.com. So this is with the 8th form. I use, for example, for the grammar point WH questions, I created the lesson. So it's more about all the WH questions, all the possibilities. So the students visited the website, and then they did a quiz about that. And the most important thing is that when doing the activities via online tools, they give you the results with statistics and things. So, and in this way, you teach in the classroom in let's say in an interactive way. You include your students, you include your techniques as well, and yourself, and then plus that you do it interactively, even online, because they, for example, if they watch a video and then they will react to that video and they will do activity, which you will get that result, which you will analyze, and then you can give them feedback. So it's always a circle, and they are included. You do your best to make that happen, because if you teach and go on without holding on, like you say, your horses, and see what you are teaching, are they really learning, how they understand, what are the errors they are making, or what things that can be fixed or done, which we are, and this is what we are going to talk about later, which is the reflective teaching. In itself means it's like analyzing your things and what you do and whatever. So try to include as many as possible options of providing the information, and as well as involving to the maximum your students. Whatever the way it is, whatever the technique it is, it's up to you. We cannot talk about everything here in this webinar, but maybe later I will send to Mr. Habib that I have a document which contains more than 300 techniques of interactive teachings, which you can use. Or of course they will not all of them be used, but at least you can read them and see which one fits more to your teaching style and what you do and whatever. So now we are going to move to the vocabulary aspect, which is the same thing. Nearly teaching grammar, it's true that it differs from teaching vocabulary, but the aspects and the techniques and the objectives are not totally different, but we are going to try to do that. I'm focusing on the 7th form basic education, because this is what the last thing that I taught. So they are more I teach 7th form and 8th form, so the examples are from I take them from them and what I did. But you can apply this to all levels, from the 7th form to the fourth form secondary education. They are just a matter of adapting and changing things according to your needs. For example, in Module 2, Section 3, Welcome to Tunisia, it's the most important thing here is the vocabulary about airport. So the lessons start with an activity about airport things that you can find in the airport, like customs officer and whatever. And then there is a video about, it's not a video, but a conversation, sorry, between Peter, who is the guest of Ali Sultan, who arrived from England to Jerba Zarzis airport. And then there is a conversation between Peter and the customs officer. And I converted that conversation, which is I took the audio file, and then through a software which is called Toonly. It's a paid program or software, but I make it like a video. So I'm going to just for a moment exit. Okay, I will show you this later. Let's not interrupting the slides, so we are not going to lose time also. So I converted this. You can find the link to the video, of course, as mentioned there. So
see, I'm just following you and posting the links on the chat box, if you don't mind.
Okay, no problem. So, and then I added the activity on Google Forms. It's like that part was about reading comprehension and where they can have questions about a few things. And then I made a video about things that you can find in an airport. It's really not for just elementary or beginners, for like the seventh form. But I'm sure that they will, even if they don't understand the listening or what is going on, all of it, but they will see the writing of or the words which are written. For example, if there is customs officer, they will see the how it is written and everything. And there is, for example, in how you can teach, for example, interactively. So this is after we taught. For example, I'm sure that you know the hot seat activity. This is a good activity, or where you can assess the knowledge of your students about any vocabulary. I'm sure if you don't know what it means, a hot seat. So for example, you take 2 or 3 students, they sit in front of their class on 3 chairs, but their backs is to the board, so they cannot see what is going on. So the teacher writes, for example, trolley, and then the friends or the classmates try to tell that word, but of course without telling it to those 3. So the first one who get it right stays, the other 2 leaves, and then 2 others comes and a new word and so on and so forth. So let's say you can do 5 to 6 words according to what they have learned from that. So it's really an important activity. If you can, it includes fun, it includes activity. I mean, activity, physical, what you call total. I mean, use of physical activity. It's fun, it's rewarding, and you can even give rewards for the winner after that. It's not marks, but you can get some sweets or even a novel or story or short story or whatever to encourage them. So you can use many activities that can be interactive, and you can not, even if you don't have the tools, but for example, the hot seat, it's just you, the board, chairs, and chalk. That's it. No technology, nothing. And it's still, and it has been, and it's still a very famous activity that is practiced everywhere. So you can, even if you haven't tested it, please try to do it, and you are going to see how it will work. Of course, you may ask, but there are 7th former. Okay, if you teach advanced level, even in secondary school education, it's the better. But do it. Do not underestimate how your students can perform or can do. So this is it's not quickly, maybe it's more than 40 minutes now, but this is how you can do things. So interactive inside the classroom and interactively outside the classroom via internet, means online tools that you can use to make it interactively. As we are going to see later, those activities that can be done when you are in the classroom, you can assess your kids directly, and you can know and spot the difficulties. But when you are online, those tools need be, some of them gives you hints, some of them not. But Google Forms will give you, even each student, what his or her answers were. So as we're going to see later, this is very important. So make it more interactive. Then they watch, they interact, they do, and so this is like a whole process for them. And here you are teaching them many things, not just the words that they should know or the grammar point that they should know, but the use of technology, how they can interact, and how they can do many things, and even it's more challenging and more engaging. As you know, they are what they call the, I don't know, tech generation, means they use, most of them, they have mobile phones, so it's very important for them to be included in that, not just in the classroom. We talked about the results, and here the results we are going to this leads us to the reflective teaching. We are going to use Gibbs reflective style, which consists of what you see on your screens. So the description of the thing, what happened, and then what were you thinking and feeling, and then the evaluation, what was good and bad about the experience. So the experience, of course, is the thing that happened, or the actual teaching that you did, and then you analyze what sense can you make of that situation. For example, as you're going to see later, if, for example, you taught the present progressive, and then, for example, if you have 15 students in a group, only 4 of them got it right answer. So there is something somewhere there is something that is not going on. 4 out of 15, it's where whose problem is you, your classmate, your students, the curriculum, whatever. So then you analyze the thing. Then you'll of course find or arrive to a conclusion. What else could have been done? So, for example, either is it me who didn't teach well or explain it well or whatever, or it's the students or whatever. So it depends on your perception of the thing. And then you are going, of course, to make an action plan. So if it arose again, what would you do? I mean, here you are going to do things that fix it, reteach, reevaluate, reassess. So it depends on your perception of your own teaching. This is, I'm not telling this just my opinion and how things should. And as you know, maybe this should be a habit in your teaching. So, for example, even if it's not on a daily basis, but at least the more often, the better. Just hold on, see what is going on. If there is something, don't wait just for tests or end of term tests to see what is going on and then make a remedy. Then maybe sometimes it's too late. So the sooner, the better. Now we are going to move to some practical points or the tutorials, how you can, for example, create online activities or through Google Form. Of course, if I selected the Google Form because it's free, and most of the people now are using Google as a service or as email provider or whatever. To be honest, I'm using only my servers. Even my professional email is my own website, which is, for example, shaafi.com. So I don't use all of Google or Microsoft things. It's a personal choice. I don't know if it's good or bad, but if you want to make a Google Form activity, so first you need to have a Google account. Then go to Google, for example, and log in, and then go to Google Drive, which is can be found in those 9 dots. We are going to see a practical demonstration just in a few minutes. This is just for you to follow, and then when we finish, I'm going to send this presentation to the steering committee, and then they may post it in the Facebook page, or in any way they can see helpful for all of the attendees to use, or whatever they like to do. So then if you go, then you have to click on new, and then if you use it Google Form, you will find it in the list here. If not, just click on more, and then you will find Google Form on the more option. But if you use it just once, it will appear under the docs and sheets and slides. So, and here is how you do it. For example, you select the name and the description of the, for example, activity, and then you start doing your questions. You can, as the arrow shows, if you click on that drop down arrow, it will give you, for example, multiple choice checkbox. You can even upload a linear scale for evaluation and things. Of course, if you want to add more, then you click on plus, and then when you finish, to get this link, you have to click on send, which will give you either to send it or embed it, but you have to get the link. So it's the link here, you copy it. And then when you distribute that link and someone answer it, you have the question and then the responses. Sorry. And when you get the responses, you will get the summary. You have per question or individual. So it means that everybody will have their own results. For example, the questions and everything. So this is the end of the slides, and now I'm going to show you the things that I did. Sorry, just a moment, because I'm going to leave and then go back. So. Here we go. I hope that you see my screen again.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So if you as I told you, normally if you want to do the things, you click on this Google Apps, which is here, and then you go to Google Drive. This is the Google Drive. So in the Google Drive, you go to new. And then, as I told you, if you use it, then you can find it here. So, and then you have to do this, the new form. For example, if you want, yes.
Sorry, Siwalid. Sorry, Siwalid. You need to. I think yeah, it's there. Okay, thank you. So we got it. So go ahead, okay. Siwalid. Okay.
So, for example, let's say that you want a vocabulary, for example, vocabulary. Activity, you write it and you click here. It will give you, for example, this is 7th form, for example, activity. So this is the description, and then you will have the questions. For example, here, of course, it's very important that you always should you should always include the names of your students and the level, because here to know exactly which.
Sorry, but we can't hear anything.
Sorry?
Normally it's okay.
That's fine, Siwalid. We can hear you well. Maybe
okay.
She's got a technical problem.
Okay. So, for example, your name, your student name, for example, you write your name, and then here a short answer, so that the students will write here, and then you go, for example, your class or your class. For example, I teach 7B1, I mean basic, and then for example 7B2, and then for example 7B3. If it's intended to the 7 basic education, If it's secondary, then you change. So the name of the students and then the class. So for example, Muhammad bin Muhammad, and he is 7B1. So I know that I will know the answer of Muhammad bin Muhammad from 7B1. And then we start the questions. If you want to include a picture, for example, let's say that it's vocabulary. So as custom officer, or let's say policeman. So let's say, for example, in the airport, there is a policeman. So we insert the thing and who is he? For example, who is he? And either you give him options, or he or she writes the answer. For example, policeman. So here what I did, it's vocabulary about, for example, about airport. So select, for example, words related to the airport. So there are 3 you can select. And this is so he is a policeman, so he should answer policeman. And what is this? Is it language, trolley, or luggage? So normally the answer is luggage, but maybe a student say it's a language. And this is, for example, it's a what? It's a plane. Because students already know all these vocabulary words. For example, the asks to see your passport. Who? The customs, the custom officer, or the pilot. So normally it should be the customs officer asks to see your passport. And then they put submit. So your response has been recorded. So if you go to your then you go to your for example, it's about airport. Here we have the answer. So either it's, as you can see, they give you a summary. So the answer, the questions, how the percentage. If you want individual, so individuals, who answered this? So you can see this is, for example, let's see who it is. Normally 1 of 1, yeah. So if it's just one, so they give you without the. So it's not this one, but this is. We did this without the name and the classroom. But if it's about the classroom, the name, it will give you the name and the class. But this one is without the classroom. There is also the, for example, I did for the present simple and the present continuous. So if, for example, now what's your name? For example, Muhammad, and I am in 7B. So my mother is, for example, makes. And here, as you can see, I included indicators. So they have to know when to use the present simple and when they use the present continuous. For example, is helping, I am watching, I am chatting, and submit. So if I go to the present simple, yes. So normally we have questions, we go individual. So here we have, for example, Muhammad. We see what Muhammad, so his name, his class, and his answers. And then we get one by one. For example, if you have 15 or even 30 students who answer it, then you go, if you want them to check the individual things, then go one by one. If you want the summary to see, for example, how many answered correctly the first one.
Sorry, but I cannot.
We'll
Sorry?
check her mic, madam. Yes, Walid, that's fine. I guess she's got a problem with her mic, so.
Okay. So here it gives you the analysis of the questions. For example, in question number 2, we never TV in the morning, we never watch. So one answered it correctly and the other no. So here it gives you the analysis of the answers, which can give you a hint. And this is when I told you to think of the reflective teaching. So you can see if, for example, you have 30 students and only 15 answered correct to most of the present progressive questions, then there is something not going on well with them, because half of the class is not answering correctly. So then you can see if you are going to reteach or make some remedial work or talk to them about that. So this is really a nice way to check their things, and I think it's really also motivating, engaging, and interactive. So you give them this, they provide you with answers, you analyze, and then there is this kind of involvement from all parts in the learning and teaching process, either in the way of teaching the grammar or teaching vocabulary or assessing vocabulary or assessing grammar. So it's interactive in the whole process. So for example, this is just quickly the video that I made about vocabulary. So I don't know, it's maybe that will so this is the conversation that takes place. I made this using, as I told you, the tonally. So I assume that this is the boy is Peter and this is the custom officer, and they are talking about the conversation which you can find in the 7th form books module 2 next 3, and then the vocabulary relating that, the luggage and things. And this is the so a plane. So it's all about vocabulary related to the airport. So economic class, for example, first class. I'm sure that this is a little bit long, but all the links are there. So you may have them when the session finishes. Sorry. And this is about the present continuous and thoroughly explanation of it. I provide my students with the links to the videos, and I use most of the time I use with them their emails, and we had some group, Facebook group, which is private, and they can watch, of course. But please be careful that with the 7th form or the basic education in general, they are still young, so you have to think about their safety, about the safety online and everything. And that's why I told you I use my own products. I have my service, I have my website, I buy things that I invest in them, because if you go to some other website or things, then you may have some advertisements. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, and they are kids. So, and of course, when you are going to send to them or interact with them via social media or whatever, you have to inform your headmaster about everything to be protected, because it's not just a game for them. And I hope that everything for me, everything is okay up to now. We have no problem, but it depends from one person to another, from one teacher to another, and it depends on how you use them and in which way. And why I prefer if you use Google Form, because as you can see, there is no what we call distracting elements. So you have only the page with the background, which you can change the color if you like, of course, and the answers. That's it. The questions, and that's it. No advertisements, no ads here or there to distract the students while doing the thing. So generally, this is what I wanted to talk about, really. So just to sum up, or to just to review, or quickly in 1 minute what we have done. So think about including the students in all you do, and try to make it interactive. Well, as you can see, interactivity is, there is an interaction between the participants. So you are a teacher, you have your students, so include them in the way you do things, either while teaching and while assessing. It's not assessing, of course, not in the tests, but assessing what you teach through the courses, through the lessons, or online, or whatever. And be always ready to remedy, or to fix, or to reteach if it's necessary, because adaptation is really important in order to make things. Don't let things go far away, and then you may not be able to go back to fix things. So try to teach, make a pause, stop, hold on, and then see, make what you have done, and then continue. So of course, this is not an easy topic which we can done in one hour, but I hope that you got at least a little bit of information and idea that you can apply in your classroom. But as I told you, due to the current situation, everything is a little bit messy, and due to the coronavirus, things are, as you can see, we teach, we stop, whatever. That's why you can rely a lot on online tools to keep on going and providing your students with things. And this is what I'm doing mainly with the 8th form. We have never stopped doing things, and because we are all doing this, and we are trying to make things better, and they like the idea, and they are doing their best. Even in the classroom, sometimes they don't want to do things really quickly and whatever, but they always do whatever I ask them to do online, which is really inspiring, and that's why I hope that in Tunisia we can convert at least even 25% of our teaching to online. But due to the circumstances, and the situation of our country, we are still lagging behind. We hope that one day we'll be like the other countries. And so it's nearly 1 hour and 5 minutes. I hope that you enjoyed a little bit this webinar with me. I hope that I was not really quick and you understood everything. So of course, as I told you, we are going to share everything, every bit of information that I said with you. I'm going to see with the steering committee of the best way to do this. And you know that I am on that group. If you need any help from me or the steering committee, you are the most welcome. Again, thank you very much for anyone attended. It's very a pleasure, a privilege, and thank you very much. That's all for me.
Siwalid, thank you for this inspiring presentation. But before we move on to questions, can you share the link to the Google form, the one that you did with the 7th form, maybe for some practice with teachers? And one more thing, can you share the other, maybe the other form that you paid for and that you are using with your students, in which maybe some feedback is given. Can you do this?
Okay, yeah, just a moment. So
can you share them via the chat box, maybe for the link of the Google form? Can you share it via the chat box?
Yeah,
so
I can.
Practice.
So if I want to share it, so I need to go to and share, isn't I can't see where to.
Mr. Walid.
Yeah.
Mr. Habib, yes, I would just suggest you share things on our U-innovate Facebook group, because some colleagues do not have access to the chat box here. Okay, so would you just share that on the U-innovate Facebook group? Okay.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Have access to it.
Right now, do you want I do that right now?
Later on, it's okay. It's okay. Let's just finish and listen to some colleagues who might have some questions for you. Thank you for the presentation, by the way. That was really very interesting. Okay.
Thank you very much
for the huge efforts. Yes, Mrs. Atfi. Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mr. Shafi for the interesting presentation and for all the tips that he as just he said, this is just for taste. We need to practice a lot, and we need to use these tools in order to master them. So thank you again, Mr. Shafi.
Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you very much.
Another word of thanks to
I think Mrs. Marawi is raising her hand. And she's got a question.
Yeah.
Okay, before Mrs. Marawi, if you don't mind, Mrs. Lema.
Yes, please.
Just a word about Si Walid, okay? Because he is a very active teacher in the area of Medellin. And this is not new to me, actually. And I would like to thank him very much for all the efforts he makes with his students in the region. And now he is disseminating some of his knowledge to colleagues. And I'm sure that he will be more cooperative, and he is ready to help. Because, as he said, this is not enough to be said in 1 hour. But after all, that was great. Thank you very much, Si Walid.
Thank you very much, Si Kamal. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, so it's time maybe to invite some of the participants to ask questions or to add their remarks or comments. So we're going to start with Mrs. Besma Marawi. Can you unmute your microphone? And the platform is yours.
Yes, Mrs. Marawi. Mrs. Marawi, can you hear us? No answer.
If you have, Mrs. Marawi, if you have some technical problems, maybe you can write your question or comment in the chat box, and we're going to read it for you.
Yes,
maybe some other, yeah.
I don't know. No hands actually. Maybe I don't know if some colleagues want to thank or express their appreciation. You're welcome. While waiting for Mr. Warami, so thanks again to Walid, Mr. Walid. Yes.
You are welcome.
So nowadays we can't do without the hands-on approach and interactive learning tools. Actually, gone are the days of passive teaching. And I'm glad actually, that COVID-19, despite the hardships we're facing, so more and more teachers are being connected and students as well, and using technology and many high-tech practices. I mean, practices born from the virus actually, but they are having the potential to improve teaching and learning, to enhance teaching and learning. Okay, so thank you very much for all the efforts you're making and the activities you're creating for the students. That's really very interesting. That's so inspiring. Mrs. Vesma again, yes, can you hear us? I cannot see any comments. Thanks for the links, Mr. Walid. Yes, I can see the links in the chat box. Thank you.
So I don't know. Maybe some of you know already through the prep school or English data. I have my own website, which is, for example, this is the lesson of WH question that I made with the 8th form. This is my own website. After they go thoroughly with it's really they do the quiz. This is the way. It's a little bit different to Google Form. This is a paid version of the plugin that I'm using, which is a little bit different from that, as it gives the student himself the feedback, the answers, the correct answers, where he made it wrong, and any recommendation which I make myself. So it's I will share the information. It's not easy to do here on the platform because there are some private things that I can't share. But I will share all the information on the Facebook page where they can have all the details about these things later on.
See, Walid.
Go
Yep.
ahead.
Mrs.
Yes, please.
Question.
This is Huda.
Huda Bukasula, yeah.
Yeah. Can you read it, Si Kamal? Yeah.
Go ahead, no problem.
Yes.
Now, how to create a QR code? She's asking, Si Walid.
Well, it's easy. You can go to, if you are still seeing my things. You have QR code creator, and then you have for example, generator. Go to Google for it in Google Form, and then you can just text or whatever, and it will just anything, any image, any link, anything, and then it will give you the QR code, which then you can you save it as an image. For example, this form, sorry, not this one, but let's say that this form, copy, and I want it just, and this is it. You just copy and save as, and it will give you the download as JPEG, sorry, or as a vector, as you like. And so you can shape it, you can make any colors or whatever, and then you can just download the JPEG, and that's it.
Good.
So Google for the search item QR code generator or creator, and then select any link. Of course, always the first link is the best, so just select it. Or you can, if you have your mobile phone, you have the applications. This is on the computer. If you have your mobile phone, the same thing. Go to Google Play or Play Store and search for QR code generator, and then you'll get it.
Maybe we have someone else.
Yeah, Mr. Habib, there's a question from the live streaming by Mrs. Tamala. She's asking about the software used by Mr. Shafi to convert audio into video.
And that is well, to be honest, they may be surprised, but it's called Toonly. It's a little bit expensive, to be honest, but that's not. It's sometimes more than, I don't know. This is it's Toonly. I don't know. It's for and like animation things. now they have like they use it to have during in March or April during the lockdown. They had like a full life discount, which has nearly $60. So I bought it there, but normally it's $400 per year.
Oh, great. So $60.
Yeah.
Does it, Siwari, does it offer a free trial, maybe 1 month?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Sure.
you can. Yeah, there is try it only, so you can download it, but it will be limited. You will not have, for example, the characters. These are characters. I can show you a video, but you can. The most important thing is that this is, you can animate the characters. It's not just a simple video.
Yeah.
You can animate the characters saying hello, giving something. So that's why it's a little bit expensive. So I don't know.
Good for creating animations. Yes, that's great.
Oh, if
You just got to have an eye on such opportunities.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, having a great discount. Yeah.
Yeah, we always have to have an eye on such opportunities, I said, for discounts, etc.
Can we move on to Mr. Hatem Shbehi? I think he has something to say or has a question. Mr. Shbehi, are you there?
Can I just
Yes.
interrupt,
Hello.
Mr. Habib, because
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
just
ahead, Mrs.
because Mrs. Marawi earlier raised her hands and wanted to say something, and we asked her to write in the chat box. Well, actually, it seems that she hasn't got a question, but just an appreciation. She says that Mr. Walid is giving her a good idea what to do with Google Forms, because she used them in the past for surveys, but never for assessment. Okay, so now she has an idea how to use Google Forms for assessment. This is what she wrote, actually. Okay, so Mr. Behi, yeah, Mr. Behi, yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are.
Okay, I have two things. First, to say hello to everybody and thank Mr. Walid so much. The second is to ask him if he could refresh our knowledge about Kahoot. I'm sure he knows about it.
Maybe that requires a whole session, I guess. Yes, Mr. Walid? Yeah. Mr. Walid, yes, please.
What was the question? Sorry. Hello, Hatem. How are you?
Hello, Walid. Hello, how are you?
So again, Hatem, yes.
I just thanked you so much and asked if you can refresh our knowledge about Kahoot. You know Kahoot, no?
Well, yeah. If Kahoot, yeah. If we can ask this about, yeah, with the steering committee, we can have another session about Kahoot. Yeah, it's also very, very interesting online tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had other. Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Atwi or Mrs. Zurgadi. Okay.
Yes, Mrs. Lema.
Yeah, I'm just suggesting that Mr. Behi with us next time and tell us about the Kahoot, or maybe they can be presenters, Mr. Shapi and Mr. Shbehi. What do you think of this idea?
I can't hear you well, Mrs. Lema. Can you? I don't know. Are you suggesting?
I was saying, can I say this again?
Yes,
I was suggesting that he was in another session, and why not he can co-present, since our motto is for teachers by teachers. So I think it can be.
The sound is fading, Madam Lema.
Yeah, but I guess she's suggesting Mr. Behi, maybe as a co-speaker with Mr. Walid, they present something about Kahoot. This is what I could get from her.
Yeah, that's it. And Mr. Shbehi heard his name as he's saying.
Yeah.
Yes, why not? So
Yeah,
Mr.
this is
Dr. Hassan.
Sikamel and Mrs. Zorgari and Mrs. Adwi. This is an invitation to all the participants. If you have something that you would like to present and you would like to tell us more about, please do send us or contact us via our email, and we'll be glad to share with you some interesting ideas. I think we have another question from Mrs. Alfa Swisi.
Yes, Mrs. Alfa.
Yes, good evening. I should like to thank you for organizing this webinar, as well as Mr. Walid Shafi for this inspiring and motivating presentation. I do appreciate your initiative to use IT in English teaching classroom, and I have learned a lot from your presentation. Thank you very much. My question is, sometimes students in some areas cannot afford mobile phones and afford this technology. So what is your advice, Mr. Walid, for us as teachers? Because our students really cannot afford a mobile phone, Android, the personal use in class or at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Mrs. Alfa. This can be solved. It's not easily, but you can, for example, in the case of videos, you can use a video projector, and this is a very easy tool that you can use. For example, even if you want to make things at home on your computer and then project it. As I told Mr. Hatem the day when we were talking, a thing that I use it to do is video projector. Then we have the blackboard, the white board. It's not the whiteboard that is interactive. No, the one we write on with the pencil or the pen or whatever. And then I use Word. I have the activity, and then they go to the board and write the answers on the board. So you can have sometimes even you can have if you have a stick, mobile stick, you can bring the internet to the classroom and try to do with them things. Kahoot is very easy and simple way that you can use. Even if they don't have the mobile phone, you can work with them on Kahoot. So it's true that your question is very it's very not easy to answer, but because we are not having the same opportunities and the facilities. So this is try to bring internet, and if they don't
The
have
teacher is always a facilitator.
Habib?
Yes, Kamal. Okay.
Okay, have you finished, Si Walid? Okay.
Yeah.
Habib, by the way, some of the colleagues are now mentioned Kahoot because I think in one of our past webinars we dealt with Kahoot and other software programs. Okay. Now concerning Si Hatem, I'd suggest that he be one of our future speakers because he has bright ideas and he is the master of interactivity in the classroom. Don't forget him.
Yes.
Yeah, he has a special room for English, and maybe you could talk about that room 10 in one of our next webinars. It will be a great idea. It will be an inspiring idea for others. Over to you, Si Hatem. Are you still there?
Yes, I am. Hello. Yes, okay. I unmuted my microphone. Okay, we'll try to arrange things. Yes.
Yeah, so think about it. So maybe
Yeah, it's my honor, inshallah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Hat.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Camelia or Mrs. Akwi or Mr. Kamal, would you like to wrap up this session? So we are about to finish this 5th webinar. So would you like to wrap up this session? I have already shared the link to the quiz.
Yes.
So can you?
Actually, I'm glad to have all the participants, teachers from different parts of the country, and I hope to see them in each session, in each webinar that we organize. They are most welcome. Over to you, Madam Camelia.
Thank you. Well, yes, so again, I just want to thank all participants here, and I hope they found this session inspiring, and I hope they try to implement some of the ideas they are learning from the webinars. Okay, so there are plenty of interesting ideas. So we just hope they implement the ideas they learn. Okay, thank you for attending, and see you in our next webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Zergari. A big and warm thank you to our presenter and to Mr. Walid Shafi for presenting in today's webinar about teaching and assessing grammar and vocabulary interactively. We've learned a lot from EU. As you promised, you're going to share the links and the material that you presented today in our U-innovate Facebook group. So once again, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Walid, and many thanks to all the participants.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your attendance. It's a pleasure. Really,
thank you for the huge efforts, Walid. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you,
anytime. Thank you. Have a nice
Don't
time.
forget
Keep safe.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
All of you. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
This evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.